What's going on, guys? My name is Chris Holachek, and this is another session of Holla Sessions. And today's topic is black sheep of the family. Inspiration for this came for one of my friends who I'm actually seeing this weekend. He was telling me, he's having some issues with his family right now, and he's done really well for himself, him and his wife both. In fact, they got a baby on the way right now, and they're killing it out there in life. And to say my buddy's parents, they didn't do so well, and they kind of left a mess for my buddy growing up. He got to go to school like with some, I guess, a lot of the rich kids. His grandparents paid for him to go to private school, but his family though was kind of poor growing up, and that was a motivation for my friend who wanted to make a better life for himself. He didn't want to be in that poverty situation when he was an adult. He swore to himself he was going to make a name for himself and make his own money, and that's exactly what he did. Not only did he do that, but he met a girl who did that very thing as well. So they're both living well. But despite all that, and despite they're now having an addition to the family, the next generation of his family, they are having issues with his parents. His grandma had passed away a couple years ago, and she left the house to his mother, which is their daughter. And originally my grandma offered my buddy to hand the house straight to him, but he was like, nah, he's gonna pass on it because it's gonna cause a rift in his family. And so he decided to be the bigger man and let his mom have the house, and assuming he'd still have access to it or whatnot. However, thankfully his grandpa's still alive, but since one grandparent has died now, that means the will is kicked in to where the mother has gotten the property. And let's just say that means the father pretty much has rights to that. He's very controlling. He's I've grown up with him. He's not a very, very good person. Just a crappy human being. And it's awesome my buddy has grown up with be such an awesome person despite who his dad is. And let's just say his dad's not being a good father at all, or grandfather, future grandfather. And he's pretty much holding the house as leverage over my buddy. It's like his last form of control over him. And my buddy always dreamed of having that house to live in, to make his own one day and raise his family there. It's a beautiful house on the river and prime real estate. Well, my buddy's father, he won't let him fix it up at all or anything. And he literally said the words, "I'll let that house rot to the ground if I want to." And it's just a control tactic. And his childhood house, my buddy's childhood house, it's pretty run down. It looks the exact same as it did 25 years ago, and his parents didn't really do much at all to the house. And it it's a shame. It just shows negligence, and their priorities are elsewhere. I'm not one to judge, but this is what my buddy's going through, and he's obviously more responsible than them, and he wants to fix the house up, but he can't because his mom technically owns it, which the father is the more controlling one, and they're constantly at a battle. So I talked to him yesterday about this, and this kind of reminds me a little bit of my own situation with my childhood house. I had dreams of taking on that house one day, raising my own family there, my future wife and kids at that house. However, my dad in 2011 decided to take a promotion out on the West Coast. And I knew at that point things were about to change. And they kept the house for a while. It wasn't until 2017. Well, after a couple years, they decided, him and my stepmom decided they're going to move out there, sell the house. I was not happy about that. And I tried all I could to fight, to keep it and stuff, and I realized it was a losing battle. And my parents moved out west, and they eventually sold it in 2017. Literally the same month I had to get my mom's house back to the bank. So both my childhood houses got sold in 2017 at the same time. It was pretty crazy. Anyways, I still have dreams of like one day buying it back and stuff, but through time I've learned that it's the people that make it a home, the people that live there, that you lived with. And it's just a house. You're not gonna be able to get those people back by buying it. And I've had to make peace with getting rid of that, the idea of buying back that house ever again. Which doesn't mean it won't happen, but I've detached from that completely. And that's where I'm going with my buddy's situation. I told him, they got detached from that. It was his dream to own that house and live in it, but looks like, God forbid, knock on wood, till his parents are gone, he's not really gonna have the access he wants to it. And with, the amount of money they're making now, and they actually own a bunch of Airbnb properties. It's like, I told him, shoot, just make your own grandparents' house, like a replica or something. Like, go get a house similar to that. Make your own piece of paradise. You've got the resources and assets to do it. Like, just, let go of that house. It has so many memories and sentimental value to it, but, it's a rock and hard place he's in right now with that place. And the easiest, no, not easiest, but the best decision is going to be to let it go completely. And, so I'm actually about to fly out in a couple hours. I'm currently in Knoxville. It's my Airbnb property. Maryville, to be exact, outside of Maryville, Tennessee. And I'm about to go see him. We're just gonna chat it up about the situation. I know what it's like to be the black sheep of the family. I've definitely taken that role on myself, but not just my, both sides of my parents. I feel like I never fit into both families 100%. There's some family members I do click with, but overall, I always feel like I've taken a different path, a different route than most of my family. For example, like, my dad's side of the family, all my cousins, they're all married now. One of them even has a couple kids, and that was the route they went. Me, I decided to go, pursue music. And, I don't regret any bit of it, and I still am doing it. That has also delayed my time, starting a family. But, that is what it is. It's the path I chose, and, I constantly feel clashes with my dad. Well, not constantly, but once in a while. It's just, generational differences we have. And, they moved out west to Washington State. I live in Tennessee, and, our environments are completely different. They've changed since they moved out there. I've changed since moving to Tennessee 11 years ago, although it's not that much different in North Carolina, just no ocean. And, let's just say we don't always see eye to eye anymore with values. They have certain values in one direction, I do in the other now. And I think that's partially generational differences and also the environment we all live in. And, my dad was always the one saying, keep your day job. Like, don't do music full time. And yes, that is smart, but I sometimes think back to, if I dug in, head first into the music career without any backup plan, where would I be? Either I'd be on top or I'd be on the streets, busking. I don't know, but it had been a constant battle with my music career, my dad, and he was constantly like hating on that, or not hating, but just didn't think it's the wisest decision. And a lot of decisions I'm making now maybe aren't what he would have done. I'm in a different place than he was when he was my age, and it can be tough, especially when you're trying to fill the shoes of the previous generation. You can feel this unnecessary pressure in yourself to outperform them. And unfortunately, what that does is it takes away the happiness of the present moment. We each have our own different path, and we have to go whatever path God tells us to go on, not what our parents say. And we have to follow that calling. And, you know, we can respect what our parents or grandparents have to say about it, but at the end of the day, it's our life, not theirs. And we can do what's best for the family name in our own way. And, you know, how our parents did things doesn't have to be the way we did things. I know I personally have a lot of big shoes to fill. My dad, he was a forester for 42 years, and he retired like in a fairly wealthy position, and he's very high up in the company, and he was the first of our family to go to college in his generation, or his side of the family. And you know, he made a name for himself. Like when he initially moved to North Carolina back in 1977 after my parents got married, it seemed like the whole family followed him down there. Like he was the patriarch of the family. And I've always felt that those are shoes that I had to fill myself. And I don't know, just that pressure has really, all it did is cause me pain and sorrow, you know, comparing myself. Like, you know, when I'm 35 now, when my dad was 35, he was in that, he was building what became my childhood house down 7 Mile Dirt Road, 3-story house, beautiful, 50 acres of land. He was building that. He already had bought his first house, like, and lived there for like 8 years or so. And he, you know, graduated college, got a internship, and then job right out of there. Only had like $3,000 of college debt at that time, or I don't know, it was $3,000, but he paid it off in like 3 years. And yeah, and he was able to build, you know, move and build his ideal house at the age I'm at now. Whereas, yeah, and he was married to my mom for 12 years, and then he had me at 34. So he was pretty far ahead at that age. Whereas me, I'm, you know, I just bought my first house, a few years ago, which is, you know, huge especially for my generation, and still have college debt, and, you know, not making the ideal income I want, but I'm still making a good amount to support a mortgage and, you know, get by and stuff, and go do international trips. So it is decent. And yeah, still single, never been married or had kids, but again, these comparison traps, they only cause sorrow and guilt and shame. And me personally, I've had to remind myself that you don't have to be where they were at your age. Like, you can create your own path and maybe even do things bigger later on. You know, it's just following whatever path God gave you. And I know too, from my mom's side, maybe I've cooked with them a little more at times, but at the same time, like, you know, there's definitely a lot of toxicity on my mom's side. Really, the only person I talk to on that side of my family is my aunt, my mom's closest age sister, and she's kind of like another mother figure for me now since my mom passed, and she helped me out a lot through my mom's death, and she's become like another mother to me, and yeah, I'm thankful for her. But yeah, all the other aunts and uncles, cousins on that side of the family, I don't talk to that much anymore. We just, that side of the family had a lot of anger. And I've done a lot of, I guess with my plant medicine retreats, I've tried to heal a lot of that, that feeling of not being enough that they all felt, that they passed down to me, or, you know, they could never be who they wanted to be. And you can feel that anger in them. Like, even my aunt at times can get, you know, very defensive. Like, don't go shopping with her because she will cause a scene when bargaining. I remember having to pick up a table with her, or help her, pick one up she was buying, and she was like practically yelling at the guy, you know, because it wasn't the exact price, and she was like bargaining and stuff. And yeah, my mom's family, they all like to cause scenes. They don't have any care what anybody thinks. Yeah, they're they're maybe, I don't know if emotional is the right word or what, but they're definitely firecrackers, that's for sure. But my aunt, I probably resonate with the most. In fact, I'm going to see her on this trip too as well. She's retired now, taking care of stray cats, and her and my other aunt, they love their cats, but they will exercise their Second Amendment if you mess with their kitties. It's funny to see them as, you know, those old cat ladies with guns, or with their old ladies with their piece on them. But yeah, regardless, so you know, you got to realize like what positives and negatives came from whatever side of the family you're looking at, like your mom's or your dad's side. You know, they all have positive traits. Like on my mom's side, they are very creative. My dad's side, very courageous and nomadic, almost like willing to travel for opportunity, do whatever it takes to get the opportunity. And however, the negatives are, you know, my mom's side, there's definitely anger issues, anxiety, depression. My dad's side has that as well. And, you know, there's some skeletons in our closets from, you know, both sides of the family that I can't talk about on here, but, you know, we definitely, there's no such thing as a perfect family. And just realizing that and getting at peace with that, knowing that, hey, like, they may have gone this route and did this, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna go that route. You know, I can learn from my parents and grandparents' mistakes, cousins, aunts and uncles. I can learn from their mistakes and not repeat those same patterns. And also another big thing I can't emphasize enough, family is not just blood. Like my buddy I'm seeing right now, he's my brother. He's not my best friend, he's my brother. And we've been friends since we were 6 years old. And yeah, family's what you make it. Like, you can, yeah, keep in touch with your blood family, but if they're toxic and they only bring you down, you don't have to keep in touch with them. Yeah, family is who wants to be in your life. And you gotta make peace with that, and yeah, just keep people in your life that you want, who are gonna uplift you and make you the best version of yourself and encourage you to be the best version of yourself. I feel like that really is what a real family is, and real family members in general would do for you. Anyways, I rambled quite a bit on this one, but I had to get all that out for you. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please do like and subscribe to my channel. Helps me get the message out to more and more people. And with that being said, my name is Chris Holacek, and Holla is hollering out.